Hey guys, today I'm going to show you a holster hack, so stay tuned. Okay, I recognize that most of you are never going to need to use this holster hack, but there's a few people out there who this is going to be really important to. I do get questions from time to time. We do sell unissued. This is a P38 holster. Made in about 1944. These were unissued. And they used to be a lot more plentiful. You see how they stack. I used to go to gun shows. I was just telling my photographer here. I would go to gun shows and they'd be lined out on the table. There'd be 100 or 200 and they were $50 a piece. This was back in the mid-90s. These are unissued holsters. And if you don't know the history of these actually are a product of the fall of the Iron Curtain. If you don't know the history, back in the late 80s, early 90s, communism was falling apart, and so countries like Poland, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, they were all breaking away from the Soviet Union and gaining their independence and democracy. And lo and behold, behind the Iron Curtain, or in the communist bloc, there were all these warehouses filled with unissued holsters, and in many cases, things like P-38s and other guns. A lot of them were Russian dipped, but the long and short of it is they were bought up by U.S. collectors. Again, the Soviet Union, for whatever reason, did not want to distribute these things to the population, but stored them in case they went to war again. Turns out they did, but too late to get these back. So American, U.S. collectors bought these up by the thousands. So every once in a while, and we just got about 20 more of these, we just got these P38 holsters. I'll show the back to you. It's P38. That's actually a police marking, which is pretty rare. Most of them are Waffen stamped, and they're all the same. They're all exactly the same. They are unissued, and the best way to tell that is because they've never been bent. Well, you can see minor creases, but if I bend it down, it just pops right back up again. The other thing that happens over the years is shrinkage. Now, a lot of you know about shrinkage if you watch George Costanza when he went in the pool. He complained about the shrinkage, and the same is true of these holsters. Let me show you. By the way, P38 holsters were not the only ones that are found. This is bent a little bit, but we also got a lot of, these are Femeru holsters, model 37. And this is Luftwaffe proof, but we got these by the dozens. This one's dated 1942. You see the Luftwaffe proof. But we found these unissued, and again, this barely bent, but the gun doesn't fit into the holster because of shrinkage. And then we also got a bunch of Walther PPs and PPKs. This one was issued because somebody put their name on it, unless it was more recently. But just mint condition. So of course, everybody loves a mint holster, but here's the problem, and this was the complaint that we have gotten from customers, and thus the hack. When you go to put this in, I'm going to push it down as far as I can. I'm pushing it. Granted, I'm not very strong, but you can see it doesn't fit. So let's try that some more. You'll just take my word for it. I'm pushing down as hard as I can. It doesn't fit. And even if I did push, like let's say I spent the next 45 minutes and I'm stretching and stretching this, it still doesn't fit. Now we take the magazine, and again, due to the shrinkage, this magazine, you can't get the holster and the magazine in. You get it down about that far and then it stops. So this is the problem. I love mint holsters, I cannot lie, but I don't like the fact that they don't fit. So here's the hack. Okay, so this holster used to be one of these holsters. See these? This one was exactly like this one. And now watch the fit. By the way, you can see where it fits here, fits perfectly. So let's pop this in. Let's pop this sucker in. Didn't push at all. Pop this sucker in. Close it down. What the heck did you do? So here's the hack. I take this and I put it in a Tupperware container, filled it with water, up to about here, so it's completely immersed in water. I left it in water for 2 or 3 hours. See, normally going in the water causes the shrinkage, but in this case, this is all dried out, I would assume, and so it doesn't get soggy at all. This side really repels the moisture, so when I picked it up, the moisture just like slid right off of it. But it got some moisture in here. Now, once it absorbs the moisture, obviously you know where I'm going with this. I'm going to put this in here, but here's the problem. We don't want to put this in here and leave it overnight without protecting it. So what I did is I took some, oh, this is Glad wrap. I thought it doesn't matter what brand, but this is pretty thin, and somebody, actually Kurt told me, you know what else works is a Ziploc bag. I think the Ziploc bag is a little sturdier, and so that's probably better, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But what I did is I just completely covered this, and I covered the magazine, and then I pushed in as hard as I could. It did take a lot of effort. I then wrapped this and popped this in as well, and it went down. So bottom line is I got everything in, and then I folded it over, and with a good bit of effort, I got it all put together and snug as a bug in a rug. All right, so then you think, well, it's still too tight. I then left it out overnight. Came back the next morning, and most of the holster was pretty dry, except right down in here, I guess because it was running down here. It was still moist down here. And the other problem that I had, I'll show you the one that I actually did it with. Again, you see how that folds easily? You can see where this hits right here. Here's the biggest problem right there, is I had to push it down far enough. And then here, you can see how sharp this is here, and when I pushed it in, I actually broke the seal. So what I would recommend is, first of all, you could use a Ziploc bag. That might work better. I would double wrap this, maybe even triple wrap this, so that this sharp edge right here is well covered, because I came back the next morning and it all looked like this. It all fit just right, and when I took it out, I had indeed broken that seal. And I unwrapped it. The gun was not wet except for right there. And even just overnight, it had active rust right here and right here. So just a little moisture got in, and overnight it rusted. Now, I of course put some gun oil on it, a little bit of steel wool, came right off, no damage done. But if it's humid weather, this holster would not have dried out right away, so I might have to keep this in there for 2 days. So 2 things about this hack that I would caution you about. First of all, double or triple wrap that. Second of all, when you put it in overnight, check on it the next day. If it's broken open, clean it off and do it again if you have to do it for a couple days. So you want to make sure you check it at least every day, and once it's completely dry, I think you'll find that it forms exactly like this, where it now closes by itself. You can see the outline of the holster and even the front sight. Now, the others of you have probably done something similar to this, and you're going to comment and say, this is what I did, but it's the same principle. You just soak it in water, put it all together, and let it dry out, and voila, you have a holster hack. Hey, thanks for watching. I know that didn't apply to all of you, but some of you with unissued holsters or hoping to buy one, this will work. Don't forget SOS. February 2003, we're having a legacy event, a party. Just go onto our website and sign up in advance.